Good afternoon, everyone. Hope everyone is doing fantastically well. It's George here, not Maze. Maze is over the limit, I'm sure, somewhere. But it is just me and Nathan today, and we're just going to be running through the much promised, much coveted UCL final chat and the rest of that. Not going to be too much today, as it is just the two of us, but what you will get that you don't get other times is common sense applied to real life situations. So, Deshaun, here we are again. Before we get into it, I have to ask you, how's your day gone? Yeah, it's gone fine, George. What have you done? Nothing, man. Just working, but lovely weather. Can't wait to get out and see you later. Yeah, looking forward to it too. Is that what it was going to be?
Yeah, pretty close. Just hankering for a beer, you know me.
I think some things are better left alone. So I'm not. You're not going to suck me in.
Say that for another day.
Yeah, it's a nice bit of agua. So here we are again, as we are, and I'm going to be honest with you. I think this is the Champions League that I've enjoyed the least for about 10 years.
I'd probably agree with you. I'm not really asked that it's the final tomorrow. I don't know if it's because it's the teams that are in it or just very, very underwhelming. I've actually enjoyed the other finals more.
I think
like the Conference League and Europa League.
Yeah, the quality in the Conference League obviously isn't as good, but you just know there's just potential for madness.
Madness, correct. Bodo Glimt madness.
But yeah, Bodo Glimt Roma, but then that little team beating Spurs.
Yeah, oh yeah. I can't remember who it was, but
yeah, it was
the size of the Lincoln Red Imps, whoever it was. I can't remember.
And you just can't look beyond that. And then even when you look at the Europa League as well, I just think, I'm sorry to say this, because I think it is a lot of disrespect, unintended, but it can't be taken another way. I just think a lot of the clubs you see at the top now, you know, Hala Madrid and Barca and teams, it's all just sanitized. Like it's all imagery and this, that, and the other, and they've almost grown out of it. Whereas the Europa League feels like real European clubs.
Yeah, it does. It's sort of like the original powerhouses, sort of. But besides a bit like the old, like the Napolis and teams like that, and clubs that love the Europa League, like they really want to win a European trophy, like Frankfurt.
Yeah,
teams like that, proper. It matters a lot to them. Whereas for bigger clubs, it's just another trip abroad. For about 10% of them that actually support that club, it's another trip abroad to a final, and for the other 90%, it's another Saturday with their club in a final.
Well, I mean, like Barcelona and teams like that just didn't want any part in it, did they? Like Barca went into it and they were just like, might as well be out of it. But you know what? There we are. So might as well not skim around the final. Real Madrid, biggest club in the world by some margin, and Liverpool, probably most successful English club on the European stage, at least. How are you calling it?
I think Liverpool will win it. I'm not going to do what Gary Neville said and say one thing and then disagree 2 weeks later. I think Liverpool will win it. If Liverpool play 75% of their best, they're a better team than Real Madrid. I mean, Real Madrid have got there by hook or by crook, as Real Madrid do. It's written that probably Mane will go. I think Mane looks like he's going to go. It might be Mane's big moment. Might just be, Klopp signing a new contract. It's all sort of set up. And Salah signing a new contract as well. We're saying he'll be there next year. It's all set up for their little fairy tale treble. As we discussed last time, it's not the treble, but it's a treble. So, but, I'll be supporting Real Madrid as everyone else in the country that doesn't support Liverpool.
Yeah, well, a very strenuous set of circumstances that lead you to support Los Blancos, or the Merengues, as they're referred to on FIFA. I can't disagree. Like every fibre of me wants Real Madrid to win that, but I'll be honest and say, like a lot of people, I think I'd written them off very early on this season. I thought, yeah, domestically, Don Carlo's going to do all right, but they don't have a chance in Europe. But I think they've had that. Not only have they had their final, I think they've had a few finals now. Paris Saint-Germain, Chelsea. There's only so many times you can sort of pull it out the bag, and I'm just not. And I'm just not sure they've got it in them. I mean, KB Nuebe Benzema, to those that don't know our lingo, said before, didn't he, that he thinks everyone's saying Liverpool have already won it, so they've obviously got a little bit of motivation there. But
He's the one that gives them the chance, really. I mean, they wouldn't have got through the quarterfinal without him. Just one sniffer goal, one goal. Every chance he's buried, every round. And you think, how long can that go on? And I think the first 10, 15 minutes will be crucial in that final.
Yeah.
If Real Madrid can score, because Liverpool have got a habit recently of conceding first, like the
Mm.
Southampton and Wolves. If Real Madrid can score and then just do the classic Real Madrid tactics, bit of time wasting, the Carvajals, the Nachos, the Modric's, winding them up, keeping the ball, they'll have a chance. But if Liverpool score first, they're not an easy team to come back against Liverpool.
If, let's say, Real Madrid are to win it, you know, go out there and obviously beat them on the day. What do you think that's going to look like? Do you think that will just be someone like Modric or Benzema just being unplayable? Or do you think if there is a concentrated effort of counter-attacking or, you know, a bit of let's just try get someone sent off, which of those two scenarios, or do you think there's another scenario that is most likely if Real Madrid are to win it?
It's going to be concentrated, I'd say. I'm not sure to what extent. I think they either sit in, soak it up and hit them on the break, or they just look at one-on-ones that they probably got better players in. I'd say Vinny against Trent would be quite a good one. I'd say if it's Rodrigo on the right against Robertson, you probably want to isolate them. I mean, as good as Benzema is, he's not going to bully Van Dijk and players like that. It's going to be down the flanks probably that they isolate it, or they just sit in, soak it up and hit them on the break, like a bit like they did against City, really, and just hope that when that chance comes, which you don't think is going to come, then does come out of nowhere, that they score. But they're not going to outplay them. They're going to have to do one or the other. They're going to have to pick their targets and pick the weakness, or just sit in classic Jose style and soak it up and win 1-0. Just see it a few weeks ago, or a few days ago, rather.
If only. Because things when I was looking at the predicted 11s earlier, I mean, you'll probably disagree, but I actually think Real Madrid's three in the middle is still right up there, and I think it's probably better than Liverpool's.
Yeah, I'd agree. I mean, I saw the BBC squad, like you pick your 11 between the two teams, and other than probably Man City, you'd usually have 10 Liverpool. But with Real Madrid, it was probably 6-5 to Liverpool if you run through it. I mean, Alisson and Courtois is a bit of a toss-up. I think Courtois is a great keeper. Alisson's great. There's no real but, to be honest, but everyone would call Alisson the best. So you'd probably go with Alisson.
Yeah.
You go Trent, you go Van Dijk, probably go Canate. Left back, Robertson, Mendy, don't know. Midfield three, like you said.
What about Marcelo? What about Tsimikas?
Marcelo or Tsimikas, correct. I'd probably choose Tsimikas, but
I think I'd be tempted with him.
And then the front three, Benzema's definitely playing up top. Vinny, Mane, very different players. Mane will probably score you a goal, but I'd imagine Vinny will probably play better.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I think pound for pound, they've got a chance, especially in midfield. If they don't have Thiago, Fabinho, hopefully they have to play Curtis Jones and whatever the young lad was called earlier in the year that was getting sent off. I can't remember his name. He was on number 70 odd. Escape.
What about Minamino? Minamino, Champions League winner before he comes to Leeds. That'll be nice.
Gordon, was it Gordon? No, it might not have been Gordon. I can't remember.
It will be a name like that, won't it? It will be a name like that. So I suppose Mays will have a go at me if I don't. What does this mean then? So let's assume Liverpool win it, and you know whoever, probably Salah brace 2 penalties that aren't penalties. Does that really change anything for them? Yeah, it's been a great season, but I mean in terms of, because I was trying to make this point to him the other day about Premier League and Champions League and stuff. For them, it's just another trophy in a competition where they're miles ahead anyway. What do you think?
Yeah, I'd agree. I sort of think it's the same for both. I think for Liverpool, they'll say they've won 7 Champions Leagues, not 6s. They're not going to attract any new signings that wouldn't already have gone to Liverpool if they win a Champions League. They're not going to look at Liverpool doing a double and go, don't really fancy it. Like the Tchouaménis and the players I link with will still go if the money's right. They're not going to care if they win that final. And it's the same for Real Madrid. I mean, they're notoriously the best at Champions Leagues. What was it? They're on 13, 14, 13, something like that. If they win another one, they just pull further clear as the most successful club in Europe in history. So for both of them, I think it's just another trophy. And Real Madrid are already getting their business well underway anyway.
But immediately, I think, wrongly or rightly, that what the media are feeding the masses, And I know a lot of people go, well, they do that anyway because that's their directive. But I do feel that there has been a massive shift away from Spanish football. Yeah, fair to say since Ronaldo left. I'm not saying that's right. I'm not saying, I know you watch it far more than I and most, but people seem to be talking about Bayern Munich, Liverpool, City. And you know what? I'm not knocking this one. Inter and AC Milan being the clubs to go to rather than Real Madrid and Barcelona. I'm almost, for me, I almost feel like Real Madrid have been given a bit of a sick man of Europe vibe at the moment, where it's like, fair enough, they've got good players. Like everyone knows Modric and Kroos, etc., class, but they are on their footballing deathbeds. I think a lot of people would say that. So if Real Madrid do win the Champions League, do you think that gives them a bit of pizzazz to just say, irrespective of who we got, we're Real Madrid, and the argument goes so on and so forth, we're Real Madrid, we'll win all the time because we're serial winners because we're the best. Whereas if they didn't, could it actually be quite a long time like it was at the start of the millennium between 2002 and 2014, where everyone's like, they're finished now?
Yeah, I'd say you can draw a few things from that. I'd say the route they've had, if they'd have had Liverpool's route and they didn't win it, then I'd agree. I think them beating Chelsea, I think most people probably would have fancied Chelsea. Most people would have fancied City. I think they've almost earned the respect of footballing community as a whole. And I think the Spanish football has as well. I mean, Atletico had a relatively decent run. Obviously, they didn't knock City out, but they took them close for one save. Villarreal's run, of course, took them deep into the tournament. Sevilla disappointingly got knocked out. They weren't as great in Barcelona and Europa, but they've generally performed a lot better than people are giving them credit for. I think, as you rightly said, people look at Liverpool, Man City, PSG, the emergence of Inters, and they just assume that they're the leagues to go to. But there's something about Real Madrid specifically, probably more than Barca as well, where once you sign for Real Madrid, it's a bit of a life sign up. Like you look at the players they've had, you can just disappear into the background and not play a lot, and you're still going to get a new contract. The players like Carvajal, he could easily have been shipped out, been there for upwards of 10 years. Vasquez, Nachos, even Marcelo's. I know he's a bit of a club legend, but he hasn't played properly for a good 3-4 seasons regularly with Mendy there. And he was in and out with Cohen Trial. So there's something still with that pull about Real Madrid, whether it's the money, whether it's the longevity, that looks like why Tchouaméni is going to ignore Liverpool, even though they're crying out for him, and go to Real Madrid. So
sometimes you just can't beat it, and I absolutely love this. I think that's what I like Real Madrid so much, and I've got a lot of respect for Barcelona because they are. A lot of people hate, but I don't mind that. Like they always win. They always win in the end. Like Mays will go, Liverpool are a big club, and they're a massive club. But apart from, you know what? I don't think at any point in our lifetime, so that's 1997 onwards, there may be a few more now, as in right now, but I don't think there's ever a time where you would choose Liverpool over Real Madrid, even when Real Madrid are finishing fourth in La Liga and going out in Champions League quarterfinals.
I'd agree. I think most people would choose Real Madrid. Liverpool, they are going to be at the top for years to come, but they could easily dip. Mm-hmm. It's that sort of league where Liverpool was 6th 10 years ago and Man City were 10th 10 or 15 years ago. It's more cyclical than Spain. Real Madrid and Barcelona will always be in the top 4, always.
Yeah.
Just from the pulling power they have. You don't know what's going to come around when Klopp goes and Salah retires and Van Dijk's gone. Are they going to go back to 6th? Do the foundations lay? You don't. Real Madrid will always have the money to stay in the top 3, top 4 worst.
All right. So moving swiftly on then, just looking at it as a whole, I'm going to go through all the teams. I just want you to give me a rating out of 10 for them. Some of them you will want to add comments for, and you can. Others you might just be like, yeah, 7 out of 10, move on. All right.
Okay.
So, City. Just before you go, I'll give them an 8. City. I thought they deserved it, but you don't always get what you deserve, and that's all from me.
7. I think they need to win it. They're at a stage where they need to win it, and not winning it isn't success for them. They got further last year, so I can't be too high.
Pep Guardiola has been there now 5, 6, half a decade.
I was going to say, I think it's 5 seasons, yeah.
And I don't know the numbers, but I'm going to hedge my bets that he spent more on that squad than the smaller countries spend annually on their defence budgets. Now, at some point, he's been a phenomenal manager, the best they've ever had, I'm sure. At some point, don't you have to look at it and go, well, I'm sorry, but these League Cups and these FA Cups and these Premier Leagues are amazing, and every other fan would die for them. But with the money you've spent now and the squad you've got, and the reason you've been brought in, as opposed to, I don't know, an Ancelotti or going back to a Mancini, good level of manager, was to win the Champions League. At what point do we go, well, actually, failure? Or not failure, you look at it and go, instead of him getting an A+ when he retires, he's going to get a B.
It's probably now. I'd say. You're right. I think they've spent more than anyone doing it. And I think what hasn't helped them is the way they're going out. It stems all the way back to Tottenham. When Tottenham put them out, like, they don't just go out. Sometimes I think you can accept if someone just turned up and just outplayed them. I mean, they are Man City, but on any given day, a team can just be outplayed and lose 2-0 and one of the legs can be put out. But they are there and throwing it away. Like they don't do with the league. When the pressure's on, they win and they win and they win. Something about the Champions League. Like they were as good as through against Real Madrid and they just underperformed against Chelsea. Albeit Chelsea were pretty poor in that final as well. That's going to be one of the worst finals when we look back at our lifetime, probably ever, along with the 0-0 in 2003. But yeah, I think now is when the questions are asked. And I think that's why he's gone for Haaland. Couldn't wait for Alvarez to come back from River Plate, who's going to be the new Aguero, quote unquote. And they've just gone and splurged on Haaland.
Paris Saint-Germain, for me, they get 2. 2 out of 10. 2.
4. Maybe 4, I'd say.
You said at the start of the season, have to win it, no excuses.
Well, they had to go a lot deeper than they did.
I'm not going to say what Johnson just said, but it was make love to her, whatever, if that's what it takes. Come on, mate. Lotan and Messi.
I'm still going to say 4. I mean, I think going out of the group would have been a 1 or a 2, and they should go through that group, as you say, but they had City in the group, they had Leipzig are a half decent team. They still got through, had chances to finish top of that group as well, finishing only a point behind. But I'd say 4. I think 2 is going out of the group, and that group. I think 4's fine.
Do Guardiola or Mourinho win it with Paris Saint-Germain with that squad this year?
Mourinho's probably got a better chance than Guardiola from stars perspective. I'm not sure he can. It's different. It's difficult because he did it with Messi when Messi was more of an age where he could get about more. Now I'm not sure if he can fit in Messi floating around the pitch, Neymar floating around the pitch with his system of everyone being so sturdy. Like Grealish hugged the touchline, Mahrez hugged the touchline. I think Mourinho might have gotten a bit further just from accepting he's got the best players, but accepting they're going to be lazy and play defensive.
What about Daniel Farke?
Would have looked pretty.
Yeah,
probably would have dropped them into the Europa League and won the Europa League.
He would have just splurged out big time on Pookie, who would have won it for them. Exactly. Swiftly on then, Leipzig, for me, the hard group, 5. Hard group.
I'd say 5, maybe 6.
All right, Club Bruges, again, 5. Like
I was going to say 5.
Yeah, they get the win, they get the draw. Good, nice for those fans in that group.
Exactly that. If they'd got 0 points, it'd still be like a 3 because it's an impossible group. But yeah, you give them 5.
Right, get it over with. Liverpool. I'm just gonna have to, as it stands, because I think they're gonna win it. I'm just gonna have to give them 10, flawless. Yeah. 6 games, 6 wins in that Group B.
Yeah, it's 10. It's got to be 10. Unfortunately, they've had scares, but they've still blown them away in the end.
What was the biggest scare for you? Inter Milan, Villarreal,
for sure. Just the way they played in that first half. It wasn't like that. If they were knocking on the door, I'd have been like, "Oh, Liverpool will win this," but they were outplayed in that half.
Am I dreaming, or do I remember early on that Milan were really putting them to the sword, and then Liverpool scored late on?
They played quite well. I know Salah got
a
second. Salah got a second the first leg, and then Martinez nearly took them close. But yeah, Liverpool's got to be 10, hasn't it? Sadly.
Atletico, for me, out of 10, I didn't think they were great.
6.
I mean, All right, okay, I'll give them 6. But I was saying, Liverpool have had an easy run, and I think I do think it's lazy to look at the teams like a lot of people will do to try and argue against that and go, yeah, but it's Atletico, Porto, and Milan, because I don't think it. Yeah, all right. I'll give Atletico a 6. I'll move on to Porto, and I'll say Porto for me would have got a 7 or an 8 up until that last game against Atletico. They played it really well. Carrasco loses his head and goes off, and Porto are in the driving seat. I think they've got about 25 minutes to score 1 goal and they're through because Atletico aren't coming back. Wendell loses his head, he goes off, and then they're never doing it. So for me, Porto are actually just going to get a 4.
Yeah,
I would have looked at it and gone, yeah, I would have taken 3rd in that group at the start. But the way the cards had fallen, they had a real chance to get out of that group.
yeah, I think 4 or 5 is fair. Circumstantially, them still dropping into Europa League probably saves them a bit. But as you're right, it would have been a 7. They had it in their hands against a weak Atletico team to go through.
For me as well, should have beaten Leon over
yeah.
2.
Leon in very poor domestic form as well.
Right. Who isn't in poor domestic form is fourth last place AC Milan in that group. Champions League wise, for me, they get 2 because they're just not good enough at all.
Yeah.
1 win, 1 draw, 4 defeats.
I would want to give them a 1, but it's going to have to be a 2 because they did win and draw a game, and in the end they were a point off Europa League and a win off going through. But yeah, they were still in sparkling form then. There was no excuse for them to just get a roll in the Champions League so consistently. They didn't have anyone injured of sorts. So yeah, probably 2. I'd probably have to agree.
Right, this was like a group in one of your adult themed dreams. Next one. Ajax Amsterdam. For me, they get an 8, 6 out of 6 in that group. Not the hardest group, granted, but teams on their level that could really beat them. Had a good campaign, and Sebastian Haller looks like El Fenomeno Ronaldo. So, yeah, I'll give Ajax a decent score there.
I thought you were going to go lower than that. I thought you were going to give them a 7, but
No.
I was going to give them an 8 just because they were undefeated, which was highly impressive. But I think they just, again, not that they had their final, but I think they just overperformed too soon. And then they underwhelmed a bit when they went out. Like it was just them in Liverpool, isn't it, with a flawless record originally?
Yeah, I do get what you're saying, because afterwards, out of all the teams they do get Benfica, and you're thinking, right, quarter-final is a really, really good season for Ajax, but it just, yeah.
And the way they went out as well, again.
Yeah.
So many like they dominated both legs and went out. So I might lean towards 7 just to be different. I'll say 7 because I think once you win 6 out of 6 and you get the look of, or probably what they deserved of getting Benfica, you've got to then go through that tie. There's no excuse. So I'll go 7.
Sporting Club de Portugal. 5, because I think they do. In fact, no, forget that. 6, because I think they did very well to get out of that group when you look at the other 2 teams in it, in Dortmund and Besiktas. But just like Sporting are the new Celtic, same coloured kit, but just bend over backwards every single time they play a semi-decent team. Like, I get it, they're never going to beat Man City, but first leg, give yourself a chance. 5-0. So I'll give them that. I don't know what your thoughts are.
I think with me giving Ajax 7, I can't. I was thinking 6 originally, but I can't give a flawless record a 7. I'm going to have to give Sporting a 5. I agree with you, and I mean, a bit like Ajax, they've not got that much of a competitive league. They're fighting on 2 fronts really, with Porto and Benfica, but Benfica have been a bit off the boil. Ajax the same with PSV, and Feyenoord would be the 3rd. You'd expect them to give the Champions League a bit more of a go. I mean, they're still going to be in it next year. From early, you can tell they're going to be in it next year. So they're not battling in the league at all. They can just, roll teams like Vitória Guimarães with their second team in that league. So I'll give them a 5.
Best club in the world, best players in the world. So exciting.
Best fans.
Yep, best fans. Win the German league oh wait, none of that's true. Borussia Dortmund, third place in that group for me. I give them a 4, and it's not necessarily on that group of players, but as you know, since we've known each other, I'm sick to the back teeth of everyone going on about them. Obviously, I really like Haaland. You can't not rate him, but Haaland, Reina, all these players that keep going on about are phenomenal. Where are they? Like, yeah, 3 wins, all right. 3 defeats, not good enough.
Yeah, I agree. I'm actually going to go 3 for Dortmund. Yeah, it's got to be. I mean, when people go, Dortmund get a little bit, not to bring us in, a little bit of the Aston Villa treatment. You think they're a lot better than they are until you actually watch it. They've got Haaland and Bellingham and Reina and Makoko and like Royce. They've got Brandt, amazing players. For 3 wins and 3 losses in that group, 3 losses, you can't look at a game there. You think Ajax away is probably the only game you go, if they lose us,
shouldn't be losing that.
You can't lose 3.
I'd accept it, but you shouldn't be losing.
Yeah, you can't lose 3. And they did nothing in the Europa League and got beat by Rangers. So, yeah, 3 for me. I think just underwhelming.
Right, my team in Turkey, not that I have a team, if I had to have a team in Turkey, it would be Besiktas. 2. They've turned up, they've made up the numbers. But I mean, 6 defeats in 6 games. And yeah.
What's the lowest we're giving? Is it 0 or 1? Because Besiktas have to get the lowest for me.
Give them a 0 if you want.
It's got to be a 0. I would give them like a 1 or a 2. It wasn't an easy group, but it was a very gettable group. All those games at home, they think they could beat all of them at home. And when you look at, as we'll come to, teams like Shakhtar, Sheriff, still, they didn't just turn up and make the numbers in a group they're probably going to go out. They got a result, at least for the fans, a result.
Yeah.
Shit just rolled over. So yeah, I've got to give them a 0, same amount of points.
Group D, best club, biggest club in the world. Los Merengues, Real Madrid. For me, you know what? I can't give them a 10 because, you know what? I suppose I can. Yeah, all right. I'm going to give them 10. They weren't flawless. They did lose a game in the group. But I think the run they've had, the teams they've had to play, and we said at the start, I'd written them off. Got to the final.
Agree.
Yeah,
I think Real Madrid have to be a 10.
Yeah.
I think at the start of the tournament, they were 6 favourites to win. So they've overperformed and they've knocked out the favourites. They're now playing the second favourites. And I think Chelsea were 4th favourites. So,
yeah,
Real Madrid has to be a 10. The 1 loss doesn't matter. They still finished on 15 points, miles clear of Inter. So, yeah, 10 for me.
What do you think about Internazionale? I'm going to give them a. I'm going to give them a 5 because they got out of that group in second place when maybe perhaps they should have won it, but they've got out of it. That's fine. But I just think after that, I know it's probably the one team that they wouldn't have wanted in Liverpool, but they played really well in that first leg for about 70 minutes and they just didn't kill it off. And excuses and forgiveness can be given to a lesser team, but not them for me. So I'm sticking with that.
I'm going to say I'll go high. I think I'll go 6. I'll go 6. I think I've got to be fair to them in that they did fine in the group. 10 points is fine. It's going to finish you second. They did look like going out at one point, so they did well just to finish second when Sheriff were flying, and I think they were bottom after losing to Real Madrid.
Yeah.
Then they got Liverpool and they didn't get embarrassed, as many teams have been. They gave it a good go. Won at Anfield as well, which I can't begrudge them winning at Anfield. No one else can do it. So got to be a 6. Disappointed to go out, but probably did what you'd expect. Got through the group and went out to a better team.
Yeah, Sheriff Tiraspol, 9 for me. I mean, you're coming into that. Nobody has a clue who you are. You've probably got players on about €318 a week, and to beat Real Madrid. Did they beat Real Madrid, or am I imagining?
No,
that?
they did beat Real Madrid.
Yeah, I'm sorry. That is more than any fan or any player there dreamed of doing. Like that. That's the sort of team where, with the acceptance of Shakhtar, when they've got Inter and Real Madrid, I think they go, if we keep this at 3, that's respectable, isn't it?
Yeah.
So for me, well worth it.
Difficult. I'm going to go
going into Europa
8.
League. Go on. Yeah. Fair enough.
I'm going to go 8. I completely agree with what you said. The only reason it comes down, And it's a reason it should come. This should have happened, but once you are on 6 points out of 2 games, no matter who you are, you get a little bit giddy. I mean, they still had Shakhtar to play away, and they still had Inter to play at home. And I think, what is it, 10? If they beat Shakhtar, it just puts more pressure on Inter Milan. I think, yeah, they dropped into Europa League, which would have taken. They got their standout win at Real Madrid. But when you're 6 on 6, no matter who you are, a lot of times 6 points can nearly send you through. So I think, what was it? Atletico went through with 7. So I'll go 8. I'll go 8. It seems a bit harsh, but I'll go 8.
I shouldn't be anxious about this one, but then I have to speak my mind. I'm not really sure where what's going on at the moment sits with Shakhtar chronologically in terms of what's going on, if that would have impacted things such as stadium attendance or player morale or anything like that. Like, I'm honestly not sure. People probably be listening to it going, well, it was months before, months after. I'm honestly not sure in the heat of the moment at recording. So I'm just gonna give Shakhtar a 5. Looking at that group on paper, in other circumstances, I might have given them less. But
yeah, I'd probably go for. I think similar to you. I don't know everything.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if they, off the top of my head, ring that they might have had lesser crowd, or if they had some sort of stadium ban. I'm not sure. Sort of rings true.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, with what was going on, I think it's a bit after, and you've got to at least beat Sheriff and get into the Europa League. So I'll go 4. I mean, with what's going on, you can't really go any lower than that. But I'd still expect them to get into the Europa League. If they were having to play in neutral venues, I'd still expect them to be beating Sheriff, unfortunately. So I'll go 4.
Bayern Munchen, 5, 6 out of 6 in that group, very good. But it is, as we've said, it isn't the Barcelona of 10 years ago. I mean, again, like I always say about Gareth Southgate, born with a 4-leaf clover in his hand. Red Bull Salzburg, all right, get through that, that's fine. Villarreal, come on, guys, come on. Like, granted, people go, well, Liverpool would have beaten them. I'm not so sure they would. I actually think Bayern Munich was the one team I was sort of banking on stopping Liverpool or giving them a tough time that might impact them later on down. So for me, great start to the campaign, but they should be doing that, and thereafter not great.
Yeah, I'm going to go 5 as well. I can't go any more than 5. Yes, they top the group. Should they top the group? Yes. 6 out of 6, fine. I mean, even against Salzburg, they lost the first leg, I believe, or they were 1-0 down. Did they lose? I'm certain they lost the first leg against Salzburg. Then obviously they turned them over in the second leg, but there were hiccups. Was it 1-1? Yeah. I knew they didn't get a positive result, and it kept the door open for Salzburg, albeit they hammered them 7-1 in the second leg. And then, yeah, Villarreal, they went to Villarreal and put in one of the worst performances I've ever seen from such a big club in a Champions League game. It probably second to Real Madrid against Sheriff, but they were horrendous. Villarreal played them off the park, and ultimately, albeit the home leg, they dominated, and Villarreal got a bit lucky. They probably earned their luck in the first leg, so got to be a 5. Too good a squad to go out in the stage they did to the quarterfinal. So,
Benfica, 7 for me. No one expects them to get out that group at the start. They're expecting them to finish 3rd. They don't. 2 wins, 2 draws, 2 losses, pretty even, and they picked Barcelona on goal difference, I assume. So they obviously go through. They get a draw they would have wanted in Ajax, get through that, and then Liverpool, they're always going to lose that. So I give them 7, like a tiny little minuscule, tiny tin pot club like Benfica.
Nothing personal.
This is weird. It's as good as they can hope for, isn't it? Really, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like I'm not going to give them any higher than that, but yeah,
I think 7's fair. Yeah, they did Barcelona by a point, but I know it was going into that last game. They needed a result to knock them out. They got past a really, really poor Barcelona at the time. I think if you'd seen a Xavi Barcelona, albeit it's not an amazing Barcelona, it's a much better one than they had at the time with Ronald. Knocking Ajax out was unbelievable the way they played. They played horrendously and still got through. And then you come up against Liverpool and they get, albeit they went out comfortably, they gave it a right good go when they were going out. What were they, 4 goals behind an aggregate with 20 minutes to go? You could just think give up. Scored 2. It's probably a 7, could be an 8, to be honest. They gave everyone moments in that as well. So I'll lean with 7, but if you push me, I might go to 8.
Loving this one. Barcelona 1. 1 because they won 2 games. But I mean, sorry, terrible. Probably worst Champions League campaign in living memory.
Yes.
It's bad. And before everyone goes, well, they've got no money and unrest, irrespective of that, if they had made no signings from last year, they should be finishing second. They've got enough to beat Benfica and Dynamo Kiev in 4 games.
Yeah, as much as it pains me, I'm going to have to go 1 as well. Yes, they accumulated 7 points. They got beat 3-0 by Bayern. They got beat 3-0 by Benfica. They scraped past Dynamo Kiev with Ansu Fati's late goal after coming off a long injury. They then drew with 0-0 with Benfica at home and then got 3-0 by Bayern again. There's no positives there, really. They got a draw. They beat Dynamo Kiev as they should twice, 1-0 twice. And then they were awful in the Europa League as well. So it's probably going to have to be a 1. I mean, if I'm giving Besiktas a 0, they could well join the 0 club. But I think 7 points and getting into Europa League probably merits 1.
Dynamo Kiev, similar to Shakhtar. I'm just going to say 5 because I don't know enough, or I'm not, comfortable enough reading into that with the information that's coming off the top of my head. But you know what? A draw against Barcelona. That's what was it? Or did they draw against Benfica?
Benfica. They lost 1-0 twice to Barcelona.
No, all right, it'll be Benfica. Then I must have misread.
Bad.
But you know what? A lot of teams of that level would go in that group and get 0. I mean, Besiktas, for example, would have got 0 there. So, yeah, but I think 5 is probably, it's satisfactory because I think they'd always expect to finish last in that group.
Yeah, I'd agree. The results weren't that bad either. If you have a look through, they lost 2-0 to Benfica, which isn't that bad. 2-1 to Bayern, 1-0 twice to Barca, got the draw with Benfica, and then they got hit for 1 big score by Bayern 5-0. It's probably less embarrassing than Barca, really, for the standard you'd expect them to be at. So I'll go 4 again. If I'm going to give Shakhtar a 4, I'll give them a 4.
Green and gold till we're sold. Manchester United.
Blazers out.
Well, I mean, it's just. Well, actually, I'm very glad that we've done this because I can now say with confidence, Cristiano Ronaldo single-handedly dragged them out of that group, and the fact that he needs to save them against Villarreal, Atalanta, and Young Boys is just terrible. Anyway, out of 10 for that. I don't know. I mean, 6. No, 5. 5. They should get out the group top. They did that. Atletico aren't the team of 10 years ago, everyone. Sorry, they're not. Atletico scraped through the group that we ran through earlier. I think they should have shown more and done more in those legs. So 5 for me for United.
Yeah, I'm glad you changed. I had 6. I'm going to go 6. Club size, they should top that group. Atalanta and Villarreal, 2 good sides. Albeit they didn't have the best domestic form. Pretty good tournament teams as well. Atalanta going quite far in the Champions League a couple of years ago. But like you say, it can't be any higher. Just Ronaldo saved them countless times. And they gave Young Boys a win on the first day, which gave them the uphill task. And then, yeah, like you said, Atletico, they're hardly the be-all and end-all. It's not like they got turned over by Liverpool or City or Bayern. So
yeah,
I'll probably go 6.
Right.
Don't think I can drip down to 5, but I'll go 6.
Villarreal, 9. I think they were a bit not fortunate, but I think the group that they've got in, they would have fancied themselves to really challenge for that second spot, and they did that. But I mean, yeah, like we've said, they had their final against Bayern Munich, but semi-final, any club outside of maybe a select 4 or 5 each season takes that. So I'm not going to knock them. I'm going to go with 9.
I'm actually going to give Villarreal a 10. If you'd have asked Jason Cundy, he'd have given them 0 due to that one performance against Liverpool, which in his first ever Villarreal game. I'm going to put a 1 in front of it. I'm going to give them a 10. Second in the group, pretty good result. You'd think it was them and Atalanta battling it out. Mm-hmm. Then, yeah, the staple result against Bayern Munich was massive. Liverpool in the home leg, they lost 2-0. It's not a
Yeah.
bad result against Liverpool. And then they showed character in that first half and outplayed Liverpool, just like they outplayed Bayern Munich. Got way further than they should have got, and they had dreams of getting to the final at one point. I'm going to give them a 10. I don't think they really could have done any more. Yeah, they couldn't have caved in the second half. A few individual errors of the second leg.
Yeah.
You're playing the best team in world football at the minute, and you've given them a good run. So I'm going to give them 10. I think Villarreal have outperformed many teams.
Atalanta. As someone who follows Atalanta, you'll know more than me, but I'm 5 because I kind of think that minimum you're expecting there is Europa League. And I think they folded against Manchester United. And had they not done that, history might be very different.
Yeah, I agree. I'm going to give them 4. Just too frantic. A very good side, 3 years in a row of Champions League under Gasperini. 2-3 against Villarreal, 3-3 against Young Boys after being in front, 2-2 against United, 3-2 loss against United, 2-2 against Villarreal. They had loads of goals, just about got Europa League. Didn't perform in Europa League either. I think they went out to Leverkusen. 4. I think they should be finishing second in that group. I think considering their previous exploits, and they had a pretty poor league season as well. So 4 for me.
Young Boys. I would give them. You look at that one win, something nice, but again, can't remember who we made the point about earlier on. But you're looking at that group, and you probably think it's not as bad as it could have been. Bear in mind, people, Atalanta only got 1 win as well. So, and beating Man United on the first day, you've got to be overflowing with confidence. I'm going to chuck them a 5. In fact, no, I'm going to give
them a 6.
I'm going to give them a 4, actually.
Okay.
Well, I'm looking at that and I'm just thinking, after that first game, you've beat Man United, who are the best and hardest team in the group. You've 3 points in the first 3 match days is massive. Like, if they would have got 3 draws, everyone would have gone, oh, wow, amazing. So you know what? I think that they should have been looking at that Europa League spot the whole time. So for me, 4. But anyway, go on. Tell me how great they are.
Yeah, I'm going to go 6. I do agree. They just, game 3 and 4 against Villarreal was where they really folded and lost both quite comfortably. But when it was alive, I think the second last game they had was Atalanta, and they were losing. I think they were losing 3 times and came back and drew 3-3. And they did get a point off Man United going for it in the last game week. So, albeit a poor middle, they sort of kept going to the end. They didn't just pity away and finish on 3 points at the end. They still got 2 draws from the last 2. Atalanta at home, United away. On another day, that could probably get them through if they could have found a winner against Atalanta. They should finish bottom. Gave it a good go. I'll probably go 6.
For me, yeah, fair enough. Group G then. Just because we're sort of a bit pushed for time now, and there isn't much to really discuss in this group, I'm going to give you all 4 teams. I'll give you my 4 ratings in a little bit. Lille, for me, 6. I think they would have expected to get out of that group in second, in my opinion. A lot of people probably not aware, but they had a very, very good domestic record coming into it, and they were a lot of shutouts. However, they offered nothing against Chelsea at all in either 2 legs. So for me, 6. Red Bull Salzburg, 7. Do well to get out of that group and not end up in the Europa League. Always going to lose to Bayern Munich, but I wouldn't have. And the first leg gave themselves a real chance, but just not good enough in the second. Sevilla, 5. In fact, no, Sevilla 4. Should be getting out of that group. Don't. Wolfsburg, 2.
I would go.
Go on.
I was going to go 7 for both Lille and Salzburg. Both got through a group where any of them could have gone through. That was a very 25% each.
Yeah.
Sevilla 4, I agree. It's almost like they wanted to be in the Europa League to play in the home stadium, so we just didn't play. Wolfsburg, Wolfsburg 3, maybe. I think they had a very good season last year, and then they're very up and down, Wolfsburg. So yeah, 2 7s, a 4 and a 3, I think.
All right, next one. Bit of a weird one, this. The old lady, Juventus. I mean, despite all the turmoil in Calcio A, or Serie A, as it is to many, 6 games, 5 wins, 1 loss. Great, looking really good. And then wheat and chaff moment against Villarreal, and just deadbeats. So for me, I'm going to give them a 4.
Oh wow, getting harsh. It goes on.
They,
I'm
they,
going to give them.
they
Give them a
should
6
they should
again.
they should be getting out of that group, and you know it.
They should get out of that group. I agree. They did well to finish above Chelsea. I don't think that was expected. Remember their league form at the time of a lot of this when they were about 12th, 13th and struggling without Vlahovic, a lot of this as well, the new recruit. Yeah, Villarreal, if they'd got past Villarreal and gone out, it would probably be a lot higher, maybe an 8, but it's going to be a 6 for Juve, I think. They did okay. I'll give them okay.
Chelsea, for me, 5. Should be getting out of that group. Do fine. Lille, professional performance, you might say. Complete capitulation against Real Madrid. Sackable offences all over that pitch. 5.
Completely agree. Completely agree. Nothing more to add either. I'd say 5 as well.
Zenit St. Petersburg, probably expecting to get 3rd, but 5. Just a flat 5.
I think they're a 5 as well. Some just did as you would expect. It doesn't really matter how many points they're on. They got 3rd, which was their aim. So,
Malmo 4, because I thought they should have finished last, but I thought they were a bit soft. Really, just the 1 draw to show for this campaign.
Yeah, I'm going to say 3. I thought they'd have 1 more statement result, so I'll go 3.
All right, brilliant. And just really quickly, off the top of your head, if I asked you the player of the tournament was, and I wanted you to tell me someone who the masses wouldn't know or perhaps wouldn't be that aware of, who would you give it to?
So someone a bit under the radar.
Yeah, you might say so.
I think that, well, just for the record, I think the 2 best were probably Benzema and Haller. I think were the 2 best, but I would say Jonathan David had a very good tournament, very good in the group stage, big factor in them getting through, and he got very good links to the Premier League after that. I'll say Jonathan David had a good under the radar tournament. What about you? Well,
I mean, this guy dragged his team through the group stage. I don't know if anyone's heard of him, but Cristiano Ronaldo dos Santos, have you? No. Well, to be fair, David and Haller would be the ones that come to mind. Yes, he should be doing this, but I think a lot of people feel like he's fallen off the earth. Sane hasn't been bad in the Champions League this year.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
6 assists, and I think he's got 6 goals as well. But Nkunku is another one for me.
Yeah, it's a good shout. It's a very good shout. I think you forget them because they didn't go through. But yeah, he caused havoc, didn't he, at City? Yeah, good choice. Maybe Darwin Núñez as well probably deserves a mention.
Yeah, perhaps. Well, guys, I think that's probably a good place to leave it. Hope everyone enjoys La Finale. Everyone must want Real Madrid to win, surely.
Madrid.
Yeah, Hala Madrid. And yeah, have a great weekend.